Unsportsmanlike conduct. This is probably one of my top 3 most requested videos that you guys have asked me to do, whether it's through social media or seen me in person at wrestling meets or whatever the case is. I've had major plans for this. I've really wanted to get to like a Quentin Tarantino level or Steven Spielberg level of production, but I just have not been able to get with the wrestlers that I need and get the time with them that I need to film everything like I wanted. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it and put my own spin on things. This could be an hour-long video. I know some of you probably already clicked off the video by me saying that, but it's not going to be an hour long. I really wanted to, like I said, put a lot of production effort into this, but it just, for whatever reason, the universe is telling me not to do it that way, so I'm going to listen. I'm going to do it this way. Unsportsmanlike conduct can be found, as always, I give you guys the latest edition of the rule book and what section and articles and that kind of stuff. 4 main places in the rule book. That's Rule 5, Section 30, Articles 1, 2, and 3. Rule 7, Section 4, Article 2. Rule 7, Section 5, Articles 2, 3, and 6. Rule 8, Section 1, Article 5. As always, I give you guys the latest edition of the NFHS rulebook. This is the 2019-2020 version. Those are the 4 main spots I just told you. And as always, I go through and I read them to you, and then I'll give my commentary on them and what the rulebook says and how to interpret and what to look for. So I'm going to do my best to make this as entertaining as possible, like I do with all my videos. I don't want you guys to sit there watching me talk to a camera. I guess the timing is right because as you guys saw the video before this one in the playlist and in the series on the parent coming onto the mat and attacking or tackling, I guess, the wrestler who gets called for the illegal slam. That is considered an unsportsmanlike act by a fan. So I guess the timing is right for me to do this. So sit back and enjoy. Let's do this. Even though there are 4 different areas of the rule book where unsportsmanlike conduct is defined and different descriptions of what can be construed as unsportsmanlike conduct are listed, I'm not going to cover what's redundant. I will give you, as always, the rule section article, but if it says it once, we're just going to kind of gloss over it, go on to the next part, and I will give you the descriptions and my commentary on what you need to be looking for. So we're going to start off Rule 5, Section 30, Article 1. This is for contestants and team personnel. Unsportsmanlike conduct of coaches and other team personnel is any act which becomes abusive or interferes with the orderly progress of the match. These acts may occur prior to, during, or after a match. This includes violations of the bench decorum rule, which is Rule 7, Section 5, Article 2. I'll cover in a minute. Taunting, acts of disrespect, or those acts which incite negative reactions by others. Taunting, baiting of opponent, all that fun stuff that we don't want to have happen. The offender shall be penalized for unsportsmanlike conduct in accordance with the penalty chart. I'm going to cover the penalty chart here in a few sections. I just wanted to go ahead and read this out to you. Section 2, contestants. Unsportsmanlike conduct involves physical or non-physical acts, and they can occur before, during, or after a match. It includes, but is not limited to, such acts as, now pay important attention to this right here, failure to comply with the direction of the referee, pushing, shoving, swearing, taunting, intimidation, baiting of opponent, throwing of the headgear or any other equipment, spitting, clearing the nasal passages in any other than a proper receptacle, repeatedly dropping to one knee to break locked hands, indicating displeasure with the call, failure to keep up the shoulder straps while on the mat, and failure to comply with the end of match procedures. Continuing acts of unsportsmanlike conduct or any unsportsmanlike conduct may be construed as flagrant misconduct. Now, we have a video on flagrant misconduct. You need to go watch it. It's in the archives. Article 3 of Rule 5, Section 30, Article 3. Spectators. Any act, physical or non-physical, which in the opinion of the referee is serious enough to warrant removal, shall cause the spectator to be removed from the premises for the remainder of the event. It is the home team administration or tournament director's designated responsibility to ensure a spectator is removed when directed by the referee. Now, a little bit of commentary on that one. The video previous to this is about the parent tackling the wrestler from North Carolina. This happened a few days ago. And I have a whole video on that, so go back and watch it. But I do want to cover Article 2 real quick. I'm going to go back and read some stuff to you. Not limited to, but such acts as failure to comply with the direction of the referee. That could be a lot of things. Referees, when you get up, wrestlers know they got to shake hands. If they have ankle bands on, they got to put the ankle bands on, shake hands, wrestle, listen to the referee. End of match procedures, take the ankle band off, lay it down like you're supposed to. If you throw it, take it with you, run off with it, whatever, because you're mad because you got beat or whatever, you didn't like the call. That's unsportsmanlike conduct. We know the hand signal is out to the side, the chop out to the side. We know coach misconduct is the fist out to the side. Unsportsmanlike is the chop. We'll keep going here. Failure to comply with direction of the referee, pushing or shoving. That could also be, like I said at the bottom here, construed as flagrant misconduct. A little push, little shoulder. I mean, that's you got two people out on the mat competing to see who's better by trying to pin somebody to a mat just by brute strength and technique. You're going to have a little bit of testosterone, or even in the female's case, you're going to have an estrogen spike. You're going to have your emotions run high. That's just part of it. But if it gets to where it's a problem, like we're watching a WWE match or watching a MMA match, then we got a problem. Swearing, taunting, intimidation, baiting of opponent. Those four, in my opinion, as soon as I hear something like that, one of those words that to me, like a magic word, I guess the old saying goes, you see the coach get ejected, the commentator say, well, he said the magic word. Same thing with this. One of those four, that should, to me, is automatic flagrant misconduct. Especially profanity or any type of like racial slur, you're going to have enjoying the rest of your day on the bus somewhere. Throwing of the headgear or any other equipment. Throwing headgear is one of my biggest pet peeves. Now, when I say throwing headgear, you can tell the difference between somebody throwing headgear and somebody tossing headgear like to the coach or to another wrestler it's going to be used. If they forcefully take it off their head and sling it on the mat, or if they throw it up into the bleachers or throw it against the stage or against the ground or whatever, that's a totally different situation. Taking it off, just throwing it to their buddy or their teammate so they can use the next set of headgear, that's fine. Even if you don't, they go into the locker room and they take their headgear off and they break it, that's fine. Let them do it in the locker room. They do it in your mat area, that's a different situation. Now, the spitting and the clearing of the nasal passages anywhere but like a garbage can or approved receptacle, that to me also could be flagrant misconduct. If somebody spits on another person or blows their nose on them, that is, in my opinion, a flagrant misconduct. That is an automatic ejection. Now, I understand if somebody's going to throw up and they can't hold it. I know that's happened a bunch at meets that I've been to. Kids get sick, kids eat too much. Whatever, it could get too hot, they're not in shape, they decide to, they just can't hold it, they throw up someplace. That's different than somebody just spitting on somebody or just taking their nose and blowing it on them. Vomiting, you try your best to hold it in. If you can't, I understand we've all been in the situation whether you're driving or you're out somewhere and you just hit you all of a sudden, you just got to puke. I get it. Everybody's human, but you got to understand the context of why they do it. Going to move now to Rule 7, Section 5, Articles 2, 3, and 6. I'm going to read them off real quick to you. Rule 7, Section 5, Article 2. Coaches and other team personnel are restricted to the bench or the chairs while the clock is running and during the normal out of bounds and resumption of wrestling. During this time, the coach may walk behind the team bench to encourage wrestlers, or when necessary, for the team bench to be located in the bleachers, to walk in front of the team area parallel to the bleachers. I know that's a lot of words. It means the coach can move to and fro if he needs to encourage his team. The coach may approach the scores table to request the match be stopped, only to discuss misapplication of a rule. Coach may move towards the mat only during a charged timeout or at the end of a match. Now, I said all that to say this. Unsportsmanlike conduct of coaches and other team personnel is any act which becomes abusive or interferes with the orderly progress of the match. These acts could occur prior to, during, or after a match. This includes violation of the team bench decorum, which I just read to you, taunting, acts of disrespect, or those actions which incite negative reaction by others. The offender shall be penalized for unsportsmanlike conduct in accordance to the penalty chart. Okay, so what that basically means is the coach needs to be on his best behavior before, during, and after a match. Same thing with team personnel, anybody associated with the team. I'm going to move on real quick to Section 6 of this, Article 6, A spectator who acts in an unsportsmanlike manner may be removed from the premises for the remainder of the event. When requested by the referee, the home management shall be responsible for removal of the spectators who become offensive. This shall be done without penalty to either team. Like I said earlier in this video, the previous video in this series is about the parent who tackled the wrestler who slammed his kid, and the parent got arrested for simple assault and disorderly conduct. You can go back and watch that. I'm really not going to elaborate too much on that. Just know that you can remove spectators if their behavior dictates. Rule 7, Section 4, Article 2 basically just restates what Rule 5, Section 30, Articles 1, 2, and 3 is. Really not going to go into it much. It's pretty much the same exact wording. The only thing I do want to say, though, is there's a footnote here. It says, the NFHS disapproves of any form of taunting which is intended or designed to embarrass, ridicule, or demean others under any circumstances, which is your taunting, baiting of opponent, all that stuff that we don't want to put up with. One thing I do want to touch on real quick is the failure to keep up the shoulder straps on the mat or dropping to one knee. Now, I understand, come off the mat, as soon as they sit down, wrestler sits down, go to the bleachers, whatever. They may take their straps down, put a shirt on. I'm cool with that. I know some, you got some referees that's been doing this longer than Ronald Reagan was out of office here since the 80s, or even longer than that, maybe back into the 60s. Maybe you go back to the Grover Cleveland administration in the White House. What I'm getting at is if a wrestler sits down, pulls the straps down, puts a shirt on, puts a hoodie on, puts a sweatshirt on, warm up, that's fine. But if they take their straps off right after the match, like they're mad or they're upset or whatever, that's different. So you got to use your brain on that one. You got to understand the context of why they're doing it. If they're trying to be respectful, wait till they get off. They're away from the mat. They're on their team bench. I get it. Sit down, son. Put your shirt on. Let's go. Get your straps up. But if they're doing it just because of frustration, that's different. A couple other things real quick. Dropping to one knee for the locking hands. You got to be cognizant of that. We know the locking hand signal. It's a tech violation. It's 1 point. But if it's a tight match and you have a wrestler that keeps us dropping down to that one knee, you can call that unsportsmanlike conduct. The not shaking hands at the end of the match, I understand that people get upset. I totally understand. But you got to do it. You got to shake hands before and you got to shake hands after. That falls, in my opinion. I understand kids get upset, but the wrestlers also need to know, if I don't do this, my coach I'm going to have to, run. I may not be able to wrestle my next match. Coaches need to set some type of precedent that it may be a team point, but there also needs to be consequences as far as the team goes, because in my opinion, that's a bad reflection of the coaching staff and of the team in general, that if you have a wrestler that no matter the outcome, if they throw their headgear, they storm off, they don't want to participate that shows that they don't respect the coach, they don't respect the sport, they don't respect their teammates, the person they wrestled against. We're all in this together. I know sometimes people don't like the calls that I make, believe it or not, but at the end of the day, I call it fair, I call it firm, I call it consistent. There's not enough money, there's nothing in this galaxy that would ever make me cheat a wrestler, whether it's male, female, elementary school, or the state championship. I would never cheat a wrestler. It's not in my DNA to do that. and I expect the same respect from wrestlers, whether they win or lose. Shake hands, let the other person get their hand raised, or they get their hand raised, then they can deal with their emotions after the fact. But when they're on my mat, I expect them to act with as much respect as I give them. Gonna wrap this up here with Rule 8, Section 1, Article 5, which is the penalty administration. I'm going to go through that real quick with you. Unsportsmanlike conduct by a wrestler prior to or after the conclusion of wrestling, coaches or other team personnel results in deduction of 1 team point for the first offense. On the second offense, 2 team points shall be deducted. The individual shall be removed from the premises for the remainder of the event, provided authorized school personnel is available to supervise. If no supervision is available, the student shall be confined to the bench area. These penalties carry over for a multiple day event. Alright, so keep this in the back of our mind here. We have 2 different types of unsportsmanlike conduct penalties we can get. We can get before the match and after the match. That is for coaches, team personnel, and wrestlers. Now during the match, wrestlers can get unsportsmanlike conduct, but just like with technical violations, illegal holds, unnecessary roughness, you can get your, of course there's no warning, but your first unsportsmanlike conduct is 1 match point. The second unsportsmanlike conduct is another match point. Your third unsportsmanlike conduct is 2 match points, and then your fourth unsportsmanlike conduct is you're DQ'd from that match. Now keep in mind those are cumulative. Technical violations, unnecessary roughness, unsportsmanlike conduct, illegal holds, all those are cumulative. So if you get 1 tech violation, 1 unsportsmanlike conduct, 1 unnecessary roughness, then you get another unsportsmanlike at your 4th one, guess what? You're done for that match. Just a quick recap here. Coaches, team personnel, wrestlers, you can get unsportsmanlike conduct before, during, and after a match. Coaches, team personnel, anybody that's not a wrestler, your penalty progression goes. Your first penalty is 1 team point. The second is 2 team points, and you're removed for the remainder of the event. Wrestlers during a match, your unsportsmanlike conduct penalties are cumulative with tech violations, unnecessary roughness, and illegal holds, and that follows the penalty progression of first penalty is 1 point, match point. The second penalty is another match point. Your third penalty is 2 match points. Your fourth penalty, and one of those 4 tech violations, necessary roughness, unsportsmanlike conduct, illegal holds, that is a DQ from the match. Now remember, continuing acts of unsportsmanlike conduct can also be construed as flagrant misconduct. So we know there's no warning for flagrant. It's removal from the event. 3 team points are deducted, and any points that wrestler earned are negated. So just keep that in the back of your mind. There you have it. Unsportsmanlike conduct. I want to say thank you to the Kentucky Wrestling Officials Association. I wanted to show off their shirt they give me for working the state duels. But until then, thank you guys for watching. Leave me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Tell somebody about the channel. Share this video. And we will see you guys on the mats.